here's what's dope about the Ranger Regiment. When you fail, right? If it's not like immoral, ethical, or, if it's like not, like if you haven't questioned your character, you have one shot. Like Sergeant Major Johnson says, you got like one shot, right? Like figure it out. It wasn't, I was deployed as a mortarman, and it was an operational failure. I trusted, but I didn't verify, a dude who had who shot a mortar round, not in the right direction. Right. And two things came from that. One was like a moral and ethical dilemma, which is like, it's just us two out here. Like, I don't have to say anything, but I did, right? Because like, man, what if like my leadership finds out a different way? So I brought it up to my chain of command, and I was like, hey, I need you guys to know, like, this is what happened. This is what we did. This is where I was. Go ahead. Like, I was ready for that,
Yeah.
And, there was a lot of good discussions that came from it.
It was a teaching moment.
It was a teaching moment. There was a lot of good discussion that came from it. I wasn't like I wasn't reprimanded. We didn't get like a counseling. But again, to that point, like it goes back to the point that everything you do is a rehearsal for combat. Everything you do, from the way you tie your shoes to the way you check the fuse on a mortar round, right? If you're doing it in training, like everything you do is a rehearsal for combat. And because I didn't verify and I just trusted, because we've done that a gazillion times at the mortar range, right? Now here we are. Like now I'm an operational liability, and that was a lot for me, right? And again, more an ethical dilemma. I don't got to tell no one. No one's going to know, but I felt like I had to, so I did. And it was one of the best teaching moments ever. And going forward, I knew that if I failed, I had the support of that organization, right, to make me better. Right.
Well, and that's a teaching moment for you as well as a leader who's growing as a leader.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Of the importance of that right there. So we're sitting here this evening with Omar, and thanks so much for driving all this way, man. 6 hours in the car.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I'm pumped. Got a chance to listen to a lot of episodes, and that's
good.
I feel ready.
That helps our algorithm. Actually, I appreciate that, Omar.
Yeah, I feel well studied, if you will.
Yeah. What was the ones that you recently?
Sergeant Major Johnson's, of course, like classic.
Well, you sent me a text. Maybe it'd be cool to kind of share with everybody what that.
Yeah. So pretty neat. So I serve in 82nd Airborne now as a first sergeant of Alpha Company, 2504. And we did a team leader academy. So we really want to develop our young team leaders, right? Which we think is somewhere that we need to put a lot of emphasis on, right? Like the future squad leaders, future platoon sergeants, future first sergeants. As in I'm sitting there and I'm like laying in bed and I'm writing down like what the, POI is going to be, what the curriculum is going to be. I'm like, I want to give like homework and like reading material. And I just don't want to be like doctrinal stuff, like read this doctrine, right? Like, okay. So as I'm doing that, I start thinking of like, what are podcasts that I like love? Like what are podcasts that like mean a lot to me? Ones that I have like downloaded and on repeat. Sergeant Major Johnson's was like number one, right? Listened to like 6 or 7 times.
For those who don't know, we're talking about Regimental Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major Brett Johnson.
Brett Johnson. Yeah. And so I made it require listening. And yeah, it's just such a powerful message, right? And as we get through this, we'll talk more about it, but it's such a powerful message because as someone who like, imposter syndrome, like that's my address, like send me mail there, right? The way he talks about like being authentic and like all the other things is like his A's, like that really resonated with my guy. So that one's really powerful. The other one is with, Sidney Jacques. I'm a girl dad. Right. So like that one meant a lot to me. Right. Because if you ask my youngest daughter, my 7-year-old, and then my 12-year-old Bella, what they want to be when they grow up, they're going to tell you they want to be Rangers. Right. So that one was incredibly moving. Sergeant Major Alba, that's another powerful one. The one with Brian Marks, another powerful one. Dan Tagame, another powerful one. Right. Like real, like legends, absolute legends in their community. So yeah.
Yeah, no,
humble to be here. No,
that's great. I'm glad you shared all of that, and I think that you know, when Brett did that episode, and it was weird how it came out anyway, for those that may not be aware of it, you know, we were planning to tape some shows with 75th Ranger Regiment, and we are actually asking if we couldn't get together with their, it was like what's the fitness, health people, the health and wellness program
like
and stuff.
H2F folks.
Yeah. And so we said, hey, could we get together with them and talk about the programs that they offer and what they do, and maybe we can take some stills in the gym and all that. And they came back and go, oh, they're actually going to be out PCS, you know, for the most part, the people you'd want to talk to, but we could probably get the regimental sergeant major. And I'm like, we can get the regimental sergeant major. And I reached out to him.
Sign me up.
I reached out to Kyle, and Kyle was like, what? We're going to get the So we go down there, and strangely enough, we're out in the parking lot. We're unloading our gear, and then we hear this voice that goes, hey, you guys mentors from Ill? And we go, yeah, we sure the hell are. And he goes, hey, man, I really love you guys. I listen to you guys all the time, long-time listener and everything. And I go, wait just a minute. And I reach into my truck, and I pull out a T-shirt,
and gave that young man
and I toss it to you.
And it was me. Yeah, no shit, there I was.
Yeah. And then
super neat.
What's so cool about this story, though, is in fast forward, that was 2.5, 3 years ago. And we're going through Instagram like we typically do. And somebody reached out, one person, then another person, then another person that said, oh, you need to have, you know, need to have this guy on your show. You need to have it done, you know, because he's a leader, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So then I reach out to you and I go, hey, you know, Omar, I'd love to have you on the show. And you go, you know, I was the dude.
Yeah.
And when you told me that story, I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
That you were the guy, and how it came full circle.
Yeah, and here we are. Yeah, super neat.
You sure you weren't out there telling people
No, I'm here for the shirt. I'm for sure here for the shirt. You know, wrap it up. Thanks for everything. My name's Omar.
But that's kind of a cool way of doing it. But you were the only person I think that's ever done that, where you were like, hey, man, we love, you know, and we tossed a shirt or something of that nature. But that day we met so many incredible people, being, you know, we always do when we're around regiment and stuff like that, but met so many incredible people. And on that particular day, that meeting yourself and then having it full circle when you come back,
it's an
honor. It's really cool and an honor for us as well, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you here.
No, I mean, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So where is home? Where was the beginnings for you?
Like pre-Army.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from New York City. All right. So I call Brooklyn and Queens home. First generation American, which I'm like super proud of. My mom and my dad are from the Dominican Republic. And they're still there, right? Still there in Queens, same house I grew up in, like generational household. So, you know, had like an aunt on the first floor with her daughter. So like my cousin, me, my mom, my dad, my sister on the second floor. You know the Disney movie Encanto?
Yeah.
Like that was my home, right?
Okay.
Like we were all just like one large home of just like everybody.
Yeah.
So call New York home.
I couldn't hear the accent until you said Brooklyn, and as soon as you said Brooklyn, everything after that became New York.
Yeah, no, I tried. You know, I went through a lot of speech therapy to try but yeah, you know, the Army will do that to you. You know,
it really does.
Like just a huge melting pot of like different people.
Absolutely.
I go back home and they go, why do you have a Southern drawl? And I go, mind your business.
Yeah.
But yeah, so New York is home. New York is home. Grew up there, loved it. Brooklyn and Queens, great place to grow up, right? Like just a huge melting pot, like great, like huge community. In a 1 block span, you got like Thai food, Indian food, Dominican food, Puerto Rican food, right? Pizza, best pizza in New York. I mean, best pizza in the world. You know, pizza was founded in Brooklyn. I believe that. And then, you know, made my way through my adolescence in Brooklyn, just like, you know, trying not to be a hoodlum and a Brigham, like the Blue Book says, and tried college. Like did the thing.
Where'd you go?
So I went to the College of Staten Island in Staten Island, right?
Did you really?
Yeah. So tried college, like did the whole thing.
Lived there at Staten Island as well?
No.
Took
the train. See, so this is where I think I became where I built a lot of character. Because if you know, like geographically, if you understand New York, you understand like Queens is pretty far from Staten Island. You also understand that it is incredibly expensive to drive in New York City. So I took the train, right? That was like an hour and 45-minute train ride. And I just sat there with my thoughts, you know, on the train. And but long story short, you know, gave college a good honest try.
Did you go to that restaurant that now is famous, that became the movie, where it took the Nonas And
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No. But that's no, I didn't. But like those are all over New York, which is like what makes New York like a super powerful city to be from, right? But then I joined a fraternity, right? So like there's mistake number one, right? Joined a fraternity, won't say the name, but hey, had a great time, like learned a lot about myself and learned a lot about myself. But through that, I met my wife, right? So met the love of my life, Kimberly.
she was going through the university as well?
She was in college also. Yeah, she was in a sorority. And we did like the whole thing, right?
The mixers and
the mixers, exactly, right? So yeah,
I'm trying to tiptoe around this, Omar. You got to get into the
so we did the mixers. Our first party, it was a key lock mixer where every dude had like a key and every girl had like a lock, and you had to ask each other questions, and depending on how many questions you asked, you got a chance to like test whatever lock or put your key in whatever.
Just sort of like a first base, second base thing.
God, right? What are we getting here? Talking about it now, it sounds like pretty scandal. Right.
I met my wife at a key point.
So like my daughters, right? Like, hey,
First base is I get the key. Second base, third base is actually.
So my wife got like super upset because I didn't listen to the rules. So I just went to everyone. I was like, hey, does this one work? Does this one work? Does this one work?
You want to get right to.
I just wanted to, let's just get to know each other. Let's get out of here, right? Mm-hmm. And then I realized like I'm just not enjoying college. I don't feel fulfilled. I'm trying to find like my way in life. You know, I was a high school athlete, and like that's where I tapped. Right. So like, what's the next thing? And there was a recruiter in like the student section, and very compelling, like, hey, there's no math in the Army. And I was like, sign me up, right? Sign me up, right? And I went home, and my mom always said that I have a super addictive personality, and if I would have ever done a drug, which I never have, right, I would have been a really good drug addict. When I decided that the Army was going to be my thing, I went all in. I signed up, like went to the recruiting station, went to MEPS, signed up. 2 weeks later, I was gone. Right. In that time, I wrote Kimberly, like snail mail. She wrote me back, and I was like, this is gonna be the woman I spend the rest of my life with.
Oh, isn't that right?
I know, dude, I swear. Yeah, that was it. And then and that's like the short of it. First, go ahead.
Okay. There's somebody back behind you here.
No way. Am I allowed to stop and give
Yeah.
Yeah, out.
We may have to do a reset real quick. But
How you been? Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm proud of you. No, you stop it. I'm proud of you. Doing so much.
are you going to join us?
I'm proud of you. That's not reason.
Are you going to join us? Because we thought you had to know. Okay.
No, this is,
All right, let's do it.
man,
All right.
you're good right there.
And let's not mention at all now that the scene has Sean in it. Let's just see if
Let's just keep rolling.
Yeah, that's dope.
Serious.
Sean powered by AI.
Was there anything else you wanted to cover over the fact that you met the love of your life?
Yeah, no, met the love of my life.
Yeah, right here.
Went off the thing at basic, and she wrote me back every day, which meant everything.
Yeah. Well, wait, no. You end up going into the Army, and did you pick what MOS did you end up picking?
Yeah. So I picked I just picked infantry, just like standard. Hey, just sign me up.
Option 40 or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Keep going then.
So no. So it's funny. Here's again, love being a New Yorker. Not many kids coming out of like Brooklyn, New York are like, I want to give me the option 40, right? Or like give me the Airborne contract. So they try to sell, like Brooklyn MEPS try to sell me on like, here's commo, here's logistics. I was like, I just want to be an infantryman. Like, let's just do that.
They look at them real weird, and they're like,
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. No, for sure.
Yeah.
No, actually, as a recruiter, having been one, it was like, yes, like,
yeah.
Well, especially out of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And they were like, hey, how about commo? And I was like, dude, I just want to do the infantry thing.
Yeah.
So no, like no option 40, just standard infantry. Left to did the thing at Fort Benning, did basic and OSIT there on Fort Benning, and got stationed at Fort Hood. That was my first duty station.
What did they give you, Bravo or Charlie, or where'd you?
Yeah. So here it is. I'm in 11 Charlie.
Okay.
Right. I'm in 11 Charlie. So that's my trade. That's what I do. I like to think I'm pretty good at it. But yeah,
when they picked you for Charlie, you were cool with it then.
yeah, because again, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know. Like all the other guys around me were like,
Isn't it super refreshing?
It is.
I have a mortarman that loves
Yeah.
being a
yeah,
mortarman.
I like I said, I loved it. I fell right into it. Everyone was like super depressed. Like guys were like, oh man, if I,
Well, that's why I asked that question.
yeah, no, guys were like, if I smash my hand in like the bathroom stall, I can recycle. It'll be like this many days,
Oh my God.
calculation.
I've never seen this. First of all, I've never seen this cat not smile. All right. I've been overseas. We've been to Afghanistan. We've been through some, and he's always been this. This is just the perpetual look on his face.
I
So,
appreciate that.
yeah. So of course he was probably pissed
No,
everybody off the base.
no, I loved it. I loved it. And then first duty station was Fort Hood, Texas, third Armored Cavalry.
We had no idea what you were getting yourself into.
Oh no, I've never been west of New Jersey, so they were like,
Oh,
"Here's Texas,"
clean.
and I was
Good
like,
God.
"What's a Walmart?" Right?
Yeah.
Like,
What's a Walmart?
you know, it's so funny. Yeah, what's a Walmart? And I find one, and there's like you can get Pop-Tarts, gun, and oil change. Like,
Yo, this is the biggest bodega I've ever seen in my life.
Huge bodega. I was like,
They got limbas here?
for the next 4 days, I was like, guys, I got to go to Walmart. I don't know what I'm doing there, but I feel like I have to be there.
Right.
So I get to Texas and I have to spend my time at Walmart.
That's awesome.
In Killeen.
In Killeen, Texas, yeah.
How long did you end up
Similar.
staying there?
So I did 2 deployments there out of Fort Hood with the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment, both to Iraq, one to Mosul, and then one to like southern portion of Iraq, and then re-enlisted for 6 years for an option to go to 3rd ID. And then,
What year was this? What time frame?
I went to 3rd ID in 2010,
Was Jeff
2011.
Morris, was
maybe?
Jeff Morris there as a
I don't think so.
platoon leader or commander or anything?
Doesn't
Is
sound
it-
familiar.
Okay. All right,
No.
Never mind.
But yeah, so then re-enlisted, made my way to 3rd ID, was assigned to 3-1 Cavalry, where I met these gentlemen, right? So I was assigned to 3-1 Cav. You know, did that, a lot of good learning. And because it's Cav and I'm an 11 Charlie, the interesting thing is once you promote to Sergeant E5, the Cav doesn't have an MTO for that job,
No.
right? So you do really good as an E4. It has 2 staff sergeants. We had 2 of them. So I promoted and then I had to move. So we did an inter-brigade transfer, 3rd Brigade, 3rd ID, and went to 269 Armor.
Which also wasn't a bad place to go.
No, it wasn't a bad place. And I did a lot of,
McCullough, right?
say again?
McCullough? Was he there?
I couldn't even remember, like, I hate to
Joe?
say this, but there's people that I came across in my time in like this first 7 years of the conventional army.
Mm.
You remember the Jarvises of the world, right? You remember those.
Man, that makes me feel good.
You remember
Reality.
you remember like the Staff Sergeant Omars of the world. That was like my first section leader there. First, my platoon sergeant starting up church.
Oh, church.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
But and it's sad, right? But those were like some tough moments in my career that before we started, we were talking about trauma. I had some like generational trauma for like my first 7 years in the Army. So I was in 269, and I think this is the moment that my life changed forever. So we were in 269. My platoon was like gutted, right? I was a young Sergeant E5 trying to find like purpose here, right? And we went in, we did a platoon PT event. It was just a run. And we were running. And if you know Kelly Hill geographically, like you know where the 75th Ranger Regiment is, and then you know where Kelly Hill is.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that both roads get shut down going to Kelly Hill during PT. So we were running, and I looked back and I remember vividly thinking to myself, like, there has to be more, right? There has to be more. And great leaders in 3rd Brigade, 3rd ID, great leaders. But I just looked back and like, I just didn't feel like I had that at the time, right? Like I just didn't feel like I had the thing that was pushing me to be better. I felt very like alone, right? In that sense, I was being made fun of because I was like the guy trying really hard to pass a 5 mile, which is not the Army standard. So the moment that changed my life. So we're doing the run, and out of nowhere, out of the woods, these 2 guys in black PT shorts and like black PTs come up. And they're running through the woods with a ruck on, and it's already like 6:40-ish, which means they've already started, right? Because these are guys from the Ranger Regiment, so their PT started hours ago. And it was like a foggy day in like in the the early summer of 2013, excuse me. And without saying a word, they weren't smiling. They were just like, they had their boots on, they had their socks folded over their boots, they were in PTs, they had their rucks on, and they were just moving out to draw fire, right? And behind them was their platoon or their squad. I don't know what it was, but I was like, whatever that is, I need in my life. Like, I need that. So that morning, I shaved my face, put on my uniform, and I drove to the 75th Ranger Regiment headquarters. I knocked on the door. And at this point, the Ranger Regiment had OCPs. We were wearing ACUs, right? And I knocked on the door, and the little staff duty kid, standard, right, looked at me, saw I didn't have a tambourine, so I was wearing ACUs, saw I didn't have a Ranger tab, saw I didn't have a scroll, and was like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "Brother, I'm a sergeant in the Army." Fuck you talking to me? Right? I was like, "I'm a sergeant in the Army." And I look around, and like, it's like this like leadership factory. There's just dudes running around everywhere, like being fit, being lethal, preparing for combat, like actually preparing for combat. And I was like, man, I want that. I want that so bad. So he let me in the building. And
it's like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. So he lets me in the building. He lets me in the building. And there was a sergeant major there. I couldn't recall his name. And he said, "What do you want?" And I was shocked. Because I haven't seen a headquarters that looks out of a movie, right? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful headquarters, right? You have the history,
the inlay that they have there in the floor. You're talking about the regiment.
Yeah.
The inlay in the floor.
He went to the final boss.
So and like bypass it all.
Yeah.
So I knock on it, and again, I was mechanized, right? So I didn't have a Ranger tab. I didn't have.
You were an Airborne.
Wasn't Airborne. Didn't have anything, and the mechanized community doesn't do a good enough job of like explaining to young soldiers, what's out there, right? And I saw it that morning while they were doing PT. I was like, what is that? Like, I need that. So I knocked on the door. There was this random sergeant major, and he said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Just part of the team. I want to be part of the team." I remember just saying that. Like, that's all I could get out. I just want to be part of your team. And he walked me to Staff Sergeant Budnick's office, who was a regimental recruiter at the time in the S1 section. And he said, "What's your MOS?" I said 11 Charlie. They looked at each other like, "Someone wants to come here to be an 11 Charlie?" No. And I was like, "Yeah, like I'm ready." I guess there's like something like wrong in my head at the point, because they were like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "I promise you, like, this is what I want to do. I want to be an 11 Charlie in the Ranger Regiment."
Because they needed like 19 of them, and I've been waiting for you to go.
And think of the challenge, right? Like, I'm coming as a Sergeant E5 with like 2 deployments, right? So
right.
I've done 7 years of the conventional Army, and right there they gave me like the packet. I went back, filled it out in 48 hours, got my letters of recommendation, and did that's
the GRF they're calling him back.
So they gave me the packet right there, filled it out in 48 hours, got my letters of rec, and went to Airborne school, RASP, CERT, and Ranger school back to back. Because it was required. I was a Sergeant E5 coming to the Ranger Regiment without a tab.
So you went RASP 2?
No, I went to RASP 1 because I was Sergeant E5. Yeah, so I went to
E6 and above. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I went to R1. Yeah, so I did Airborne school starting in October 1st, graduated October 31st, went to pre-RASP, did 2 weeks in pre-RASP, started RASP 1, graduated the last week in January, walked into CERT, right, because I had to go to CERT. So walked on to CERT after that, did CERT, made it through CERT, right, with the best young leaders that the Ranger Regiment has to offer, right. And there's a funny story there, because I was like in the ground with like this young gun team leader, right, again, like a young specialist going to Ranger school. And he goes, "How many deployments do you have?" And I go, 2. He goes, "So what?" He's like, "I have 4. And I was like, "Dude, you're a specialist." How?
Yeah.
How? Now, granted, right? Like some of those were like a 2-month deployment.
Yeah,
you're like
4 trips, right?
But then you start to get, you're in like this weird precarious situation. So you start to get to know each other. And he started like just sharing his like life, and I'm like, that's what I need. Like that's what I want. Are you kidding me? So did Airborne school, pre-RASP, RASP 1, CERT, right into Ranger school.
And Ranger school one time?
No.
He's
Yeah.
not
So
smart.
like, again, I think because I spent so much time in the mech world, I really wanted to understand what I was getting myself into. So like I volunteered to do
recycle a couple times.
I volunteered to do mines twice, and and especially like in the middle of their block leave. So like I thought that would be great. And then I recycled Florida, but finally graduated graduated Ranger School in September of 2015, and reported to 1st Ranger Battalion in October. And
Nice.
That's where I'm. That's
so dope, man.
That's
yeah.
the fact that you can walk in there and say, I want to be on the team, and that dude didn't just shut the door.
Yeah.
That he took you and put you in the office.
Yeah,
Like, this
yeah.
guy, he wants it.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that, because like I think about that moment a lot, because like I said, that's when like my life changed.
Yeah.
I loved the Army. I love the Army, and I love what the Army does for people, and I love what it did for me. But that moment, like that day that I saw those guys run, like doing PT without saying a word, it felt as if they were preparing for combat. Like that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like fitness. It was like, here we are preparing to go into the unknown, to enter the arena. And I was like, where do I find that? Like, sign me up. And if the ticket to get in is Airborne School pre-RASP, RASP 1, which is 8 weeks at a time, or 8 weeks, as a Sergeant E5, right? You're just another candidate, cert, and then the long way through Ranger School. Like I would not change it for the world. Like I could not. It's given me so much.
Yeah.
The organization has given me so much.
I mean, you deserve it though.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Again, I think I just held my breath, walked, put one foot in front of the other for how many days I did that.
Well, I mean, think about the things that you did before that though. I mean, it's the attitude, it's your presence, right? We always just teach third brigade 30. It's not just being there. It's what you're doing while you're there. And what he's describing is a lot of things that Kyle and I saw. Is people weren't challenged in certain organizations.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
People were training because it was a check the block event. We need to be certified. We need to go do this, or we're gonna, like, Bravo Troop's gonna go train because that's what we do.
Yeah.
We need everybody out the ranch.
Yeah.
Not to take role, but we need everybody to train when we get out there.
And you would feel left out if you weren't a part of it, as opposed to that's something.
No, 100%. You felt, I felt almost like targeted, right? Because hey guys, it's noon.
Because he wanted to do too much. Yeah.
No, man, let's just hang out here on our phones. Let's go to the barracks room and play Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
So I saw that and changed my life.
Good.
Now, before that is when he was under your command.
No, I was in Comanche troop.
Yeah.
I was in C troop, but
we were tight.
Yeah, like you find a leader, right? You find a leader. You find people that are talented. You find like the guy who like looks at you different, and man, you hold on to that.
Yeah.
Right. You hold on to that.
'Cause
who was that for me? Sean Jarvis.
How we were set up, we had
for sure, man.
we had troop coughs, and then we had like a kind of a area in between.
Yeah.
And that's where we all
And that is the hub of all function for 3-1 Cav back then, was that little area.
First sergeants were tight.
Yeah.
We were all very tight. The commanders, I mean, it was still dog eat dog, but they were pretty tight. There's always a comparison game,
Yeah.
I mean, I've said it before, and I am biased, but we had the streamers and the accolades and everything to go with it. Bravo Troop was it.
Yeah.
We'd have so many people walk over and just be like, hey, how do we get in Bravo Troop? And I was like,
Yeah.
man, my Amto's full, dog. But just like he's saying, you try to get that unofficial mentor, and you grab them. The reason people look at people differently is because you could tell that they're intentional about what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to waste my time giving people advice or mentoring. And at that time, I really didn't feel like a mentor. I was happy to be there, right? I didn't want to waste my time on the people that it wasn't going to do anything for.
Yeah.
He was one of those people that I could tell him something, and hey, I need you to go do box jumps off the front of that Humvee. He'd probably go try to do it until he got it. And then once he get it, he's like, man, that was awesome. shins all jacked up or whatever. But I mean, that was just the motivation that he had. And the reason why I liked that, and the reason why we got together a lot and we talked a lot and we PT or whatever, is because other soldiers would also see that and they're like, wow. If I don't get my shit
we
together,
were doing
probably
CrossFit before CrossFit was cool.
No.
Like, for context.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean,
Yes.
I want to stop you. Bring your mic, about this way,
Like right
a
there.
little bit, because you keep kind of going off camera.
Yeah.
A little bit. So I know you all probably feel like you all are on. You
No.
stay on.
We've been closer.
Yeah,
There we go. How's that?
that's great. Just a little more perk.
All right.
We were doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
Really work.
yeah,
It's the Ian Etter. Remember?
Yeah.
Etter.
Yeah.
Young. Well, he went SF.
I didn't know that.
He was a.
No, I didn't know
Great.
that.
I mean, he completely changed. Remember how motivated he was?
Mhm.
He was the quiet professional when I saw him again.
Yeah.
Super awesome. I mean, just got better. But he was the guy that was actually doing box jumps off of the.
So you were describing a real thing.
Yeah, but it's a real
This
thing.
is real. This is real.
Like, hey, first sergeant, watch this. I was like, holy shit, sir.
This is real. Yes.
Probably shouldn't do that. Yeah, we were doing, pull-ups, and we do the competition that, some people do kipping pull-ups, and then the other guys, are like, the calisthenics, like, that's not a pull-up.
Yeah. We did it like a huge, like, little CrossFit competition.
Yeah.
Like,
It was awesome.
Quad. It was dope. It was dope. Yeah.
That's cool.
Trendsetters.
Well, it's cool that you guys are actually getting a chance to see one another again.
Yeah. I mean, it's been
Years.
over a decade.
Yeah.
For
Years.
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Sean's the old man, retired.
I am. 100 pounds later, got a little bit of facial hair.
Yeah.
I'm not as, actually, I was
Sean gave up CrossFit. So
I didn't. I gave up CrossFit.
I think a lot of people have given up CrossFit. I think a lot of people
I gave up CrossFit for heavy lifting.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have given up CrossFit.
I was a very happy senior leader. This look on my face, this happiness, this was me as a first sergeant. I mean, it took an act of Congress to get me pissed off about something. Because at the end of the day, if I could look over at a young non-commissioned officer, and I see gratification, I see understanding, my transparency makes them feel comfortable, that's all that matters. Hey, where's my report? That's cool. Kyle, how are you and your family doing today?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what it came down to. Pinion was the exact same way. I mean, he wanted his reports, but at the same time, if we didn't take care of each other, then all that other stuff didn't matter.
Omar, no opinion?
I don't remember.
He would have been the brigade ops.
Yeah. So Pinion was Pinion was the big sergeant major that came in that everybody was talking shit about because, he had that thing that was going on. And he left the academy and he just like blew up. Nothing he could do about it, right? And then he was there when Jones and Farr
Omar was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were there with Helms. Was Helms there?
The Colonel Holmes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Helms was there, and then Hummel, Alan Hummel.
Yeah.
Old humdog.
But it was all. I mean, I'm telling you, third brigade, third ID on Kelly Hill, away from the flagpole, its own entity, its own town, its own. We created our own life force out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just. And we were alone and unafraid, and just making
Boy, were we
things
were
happen.
loud and unafraid.
Yeah, we're out there.
And the reason why we didn't tell mechanized dudes about the other options out there is because we needed people to stay on Kelly Hill. You know what I mean?
I mean, I remember again in 269 when I finally I didn't talk to anyone about, like I said, I saw those dudes that morning. I said that's what I need. Got the packet, walked into like my CS's office, and he said, "Hey man," he didn't know I was an 11 Charlie. I don't think he knew who I was. And I was like, I'm ready for this. Like, I want to do this. He goes, like, tanks don't need Ranger tabs. And I was like, dope. Thank you, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a tanker.
Yeah.
Like not a tanker. Like,
Yeah, but still, what is that?
Yeah. And and the other real neat thing is that after I graduated, when you were going to the Ranger Regiment as an import, you have to go back to your unit and clear before, you go to before you go to your battalion. So I went back, and again, I was in Ranger School for a really long time. So I went back and like new chain of command, new company commander, new brigade commander, new battalion commander, new first sergeant, platoon's completely different. I pull up and everyone's different, but like the privates and the young specialists, right, are now Sergeant E5s, now they're specialists. And there was like this, brother, you did it. Like, you did it. I'm like, thanks, man. Like, thank you.
You're the one that got out.
You're the one that got out. I know, you're the one that got out. Like, how does it feel? And it was so powerful. But in their eyes, I saw the show me the way, like teach me, right? But between us girls, right? There was a moment that I was like, man, I got a Ranger tab, and I'm in 3rd ID. What if I don't go nowhere? Like, what if I stay here? Right? I have a Ranger tab in 3rd ID at 3rd Brigade. There's no one in my company who has one. And then I remembered that morning, right, when almost a year later, why I did what I did, like why I walked into the 75th Ranger Regiment headquarters. Pop smoke,
Yeah.
Cleared it, made my way to 1st Imperial Ranger Battalion. And it's, like I said, you cannot say enough like adjectives to describe that organization. Like you cannot, there's not enough in the English dictionary to, you say men of character, competence, commitment, which is in the blue book, right? You say like legends, Sergeant Major Johnson, Sergeant Major Chris Masters, right? Like you say those things, but like the work that goes in every day to just stay there, oh man, you can't. I get emotional talking about it because it's such a powerful place to be.
So what was that first like experience like when you get there? So you've gone through all now, you've spent your year,
great question.
and then you get there and you process and like,
so
here's your new Chuck.
So of course, right, you have a group of humans who are like, dude, you're an import, it's going to be terrible for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be absolutely terrible for you.
For those who are listening,
of course,
to describe what an import is.
Yeah, so an import is anyone who serves in the conventional army, right? Who submits a packet and assesses to go to the Ranger Regiment and passes, right? So now you go to your battalion. You are an import, right? Because you've served in the conventional unit.
You're not a bat baby.
You're not
You didn't grow.
Your birthplace is not the womb of the 75th Ranger Regiment, right?
Right.
So when I finally got there, or before I was leaving, a whole bunch of people were like, brother, you're an import, man. That's going to be terrible for you. And you're a Sergeant E5. You're going to be on shoot shakeout. They're going to put you on all the staff duties. Here's my advice to like anyone who's an import who's listening or has a desire to go in as in the conventional army. You have to show up to the 75th Ranger Regiment regardless, but here's what worked for me as an import. You have to show up knowing that you have something to offer. Number one, point blank period. I knew I had something to offer because they would not have wanted me to come. I would not have passed the assessment and selection if I didn't have something to offer, right? I don't know what that thing was, right? I don't know what that thing was.
At the time you didn't.
At the time I didn't, right? At the time I didn't, but it worked, right? The second thing is I went in there with a prepare to learn attitude, right? So if you're airborne, we say prepare to land. I went in there with a full prepare to learn attitude. I knew that as a Sergeant E5, there was going to be a young private, there was going to be a young specialist who had more experience than me. And like, that's not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, like I loved it. I like embraced it. Hey man, this really cool helmet that like you guys get, the Ops Corps, right? Can you show me how to tighten the chin strap? Sure, Sarge, thank you. They felt empowered, right?
Yeah.
They felt empowered.
And you weren't used to having
Nothing.
subordinates that had that kind of knowledge base to even be relevant. Right?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're all self-starters. Like Ranger privates, Ranger specialists, like those are self-starters. Like those kids can tackle world problems right now, So to answer your original question, I think the moment for me, there was two. The first one was when you finally go to RIF, like the Ranger Issue Facility, and they like take your sizes, and it's like a movie, like a cyborg movie, right? Where they're like taking your size, and they're like, "What boot size are you?" And they like issue you Solomons, and you're like, "Huh, those are mine." And you get two pairs. What?
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, "What size helmet do you wear?" I was like, "I don't know." And then they're like, "Okay, well, let's check your head." Boom. And then boom, here's an Ops Corps. And I was like, "Oh, snap, those are real." I've only seen those on like Call of Duty, right? Yeah. So boom, now I get one. And like, here's all this other stuff. I think that's like one of the moments that I realized, like, okay, this is like, these guys are, I am preparing for combat. Like the Army, this unit is issuing me exactly what I need. The second thing was when I met my first section leader, who's now a great friend of mine and a mentor still. His name's then Staff Sergeant Bachman. If he doesn't get enough, he doesn't get enough credit for like what he did in the Ranger Regiment, right? Standard bearer, like you want to talk about a carbon copy of like what the Blue Book should be, right? Is David Bachman, who now is, who now serves in an ODA and is like doing great. But he gave me a clear line of like, here's what expectations are. You are going to have a steep learning curve. Here's what you need to do to be successful. And if you're not successful, then this organization isn't for you, right? It was like, what? Standards of counseling, what you need from me, left and right limits. I haven't been experienced to that, right? Because the rest of it, like, buddy, here's a mortar pool, go there, execute, right? So I think those were like the two moments that I realized, like, I am here, and they're making me better, and they expect a lot from me.
Well, we're the privates and the specialists, coming as an import. We've only had a few of those on the show and everything. Jason Belfer, we were talking about Friday, was one of those individuals. He came in, I think, as an E6 though.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get the imposter syndrome at that point too?
I was about to ask that.
Brother, hard.
Yeah.
I don't think there wasn't a moment in my time in the Ranger Regiment that wasn't part of like my diet, right? Like the imposter syndrome. It wasn't. I haven't solved that for myself, right?
Honestly, isn't that also something that probably even the bat babies, the guys that come up, they probably do it too, because there is a stand, like you said, there is a standard. There are people who have created these legends ahead of you.
And selections every day there.
Every day.
Every day.
And so, thinking that, I got to believe that not everybody says it, but there are probably a lot of other people that feel it.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, I'm an open book, right? If you... you have to, right? If you're a high performer and you care about an organization like the Ranger Regiment, right? It doesn't matter if you're a high performer, you have a little bit of that. Like you have to, right? You have to look around and wonder, like, what do I need to do better, right?
It's kind of like that maintenance anxiety, right?
Yeah,
you have 100%. To like you need just a little bit of anxiety to keep that
100%, and it's good. It's professional anxiety, right?
Yeah.
But
I hear people who took the long walk talk about the exact same thing in Delta.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, even going through RASP, right? There were moments that, going through RASP, I went through RASP 1 with 5 other Sergeant E5s. All of them came from light infantry units. So they were talking about things that I'm just not familiar with, right? Like just standard infantry, like light infantry tactics. And I'm like, yo, let me tell you how to do maintenance on a 113. Like I'm your guy. Right?
Yeah.
Like if
we don't have those here.
Yeah. Like if you need a 5988, which is like the maintenance sheet, like I can do that.
Yeah.
Right? And
that's dope.
And even there, right? Like sitting there and watching these guys go through RASP 1, I was like, man, am I going to make it? Like, man, do I have what it takes? And I didn't know. And sometimes I still don't know, right? I still don't know.
I mean, you should. Look, everybody, you talk about that anxiety that you have. We all have it. I sit around the house. I'm like, man, I really need to clean my garage so I can get the squat rack. Blah blah. Right? We all have that anxiety. Yeah. There's always something that you can be doing. I would tell you a worse position you could have been in is being having a history of light infantry, going in there and then second guessing the skills and the knowledge that you got. That's why those people were verbalizing things and talking amongst each other, is because they were trying to validate the knowledge and the information that they owned, and they were trying to figure out where they were short. Because I guarantee you, if they would have stepped up and did something, they've got at least 2 or 3 other people that came from light infantry units that would judge them immediately. Yeah. Right? It's like going to I don't know, any of the institutional learning that we do. You're a scout and you go do land nav course, and then you don't get your points.
Oh, you're judged.
Oh yeah, quit recon today.
You're judged.
Yeah.
You're judged.
Well. I mean, we did reckon a lot. No, Sergeant, you just suck.
You're judged.
Right? You've never known your pay scout. You've done everything wrong. So you come in and you're fresh, and so everything people are they're feeding you things. You're going to retain it a lot more because there's a purpose behind that knowledge now, right?
Brother, I loved the learning that I did. Like the first year in the Ranger Regiment, like I loved it. Because again, I've been in the Army 7 years, right? Like doing the mechanized thing. And now I'm like in the premier light infantry unit, right? Like best in the world with their hands than anyone else, right? Holy learning curve. But boy was it fun. Like,
yeah, but you showed humility, and you also were a sponge.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think so, right? Like, I didn't get fired.
Well, but
that's
see,
the positive.
You have a first sergeant at that time frame when you were a buck sergeant that was giving you mentoring, that has just said that the reason why is because he saw something from you. You were willing to learn. You were willing to grow. He saw that positivity in your face and that passion and desire. They also saw that same thing as well.
I appreciate that.
They had to have.
No, I mean, I appreciate, and you know, again, I think the other thing is, like I said, like those privates, like those young specialists are self-starters. And when they found that when they found that they got the opportunity to like teach coach mentor, a sergeant, they jumped on it. Like I spent more time downstairs in the cages doing whiteboard classes from them, right? On a Ranger raid, on like Ranger call signs, which are like crazy numerical algorithms, you know, sometimes, right? And they were like, hey, Sergeant, you got it? I'm like, got it, dude. Can we talk what an MLAT is, please? Because we got one coming up, and I think I have a role in it, right? They're like, yeah, Sarge, you do, you know? And it's dope. And then you do MLAT, you know? And then, as a young Sergeant 5, again, first time doing it, you do MLAT, and you realize like the scale that deliberate and well-rehearsed training can look like. Never seen it, you know? I haven't seen it. And then also, for the first time ever, I saw a C-17 shit out a little bird, and it flies out of the back, and it's like doing things. And I'm like, whoa. You know, they're like, hey, Sergeant, you got to come with us. Like, come. I'm like, did you guys not see that? Am I the only one who thinks this is like...
Yeah, we saw that last quarter.
Yeah, they were like, first Sergeant, this is my 6th MLAT. Like, can we please move? And I'm like, I'm standing here crisscross applesauce. Like, the C-17 just landed and parked backwards. Is anyone else shocked? No? Okay.
All right.
Like, fuck me. Yeah. Right. So it was a great, you know, my time in the Ranger, it was a great,
tell me about it.
12 years.
So we always have failure moments or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Did you have those opportunities while you were there? Because there are certain levels, obviously, of failure within regiment of which you're no longer going to be there.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think the biggest thing is, did you learn from it, and is there something there that you can recall?
Yeah. So so here's a challenge with the Ranger Regiment. Not the challenge. Here's what's dope about the Ranger Regiment. When you fail, right? If it's not like immoral, ethical, or, you know, if it's like not, you know, like if you haven't questioned your character, you have one shot. Like Sergeant Major Johnson says, you got like one shot, right? Like figure it out. You know, it wasn't, I was deployed as a mortarman, and it was an operational failure. I trusted, but I didn't verify, you know, a dude who had who shot a mortar round, not in the right direction. Right. And two things came from that. You know, one was like a moral and ethical dilemma, which is like, it's just us two out here. Like, I don't have to say anything, you know, but I did. Right? Because like, man, what if like my leadership finds out a different way? So I brought it up to my chain of command, and I was like, hey, I need you guys to know, like, this is what happened. This is what we did. This is where I was. Go ahead. Like, I was ready for that, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, there was a lot of good discussions that came from it.
It was a teaching moment.
It was a teaching moment. There was a lot of good discussion that came from it. I wasn't like I wasn't reprimanded. We didn't get like a counseling. But again, to that point, like, it goes back to the point that everything you do is a rehearsal for combat. Everything you do, from the way you tie your shoes to the way you check the fuse on a mortar round, right? If you're doing it in training, like everything you do is a rehearsal for combat. And because I didn't verify and I just trusted, because we've done that a gazillion times at the mortar range, right? Now here we are. Like, now I'm an operational liability, and that was a lot for me, right? And again, moral and ethical dilemma. I don't got to tell no one. No one's going to know. But I felt like I had to, so I did. And it was one of the best teaching moments ever. And going forward, I knew that if I failed, I had the support of that organization, right, to make me better. Right.
Well, and that's a teaching moment for you as well as leader who's growing as a
Oh
leader.
yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Of the importance of that right there.
Because I was a PV5. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. My first year in the Ranger Regiment, I was a PV5. I was a private that was just getting paid a little bit more than a private, right? Like I was just taking information in. I was, doing some of the NCO stuff.
Yeah.
But, and then boom, hey, you get an opportunity to deploy, to do your job. And I did. And then that happened. And it was a huge learning moment that I'll never forget.
Yeah, the ripples that come from that, though, the positive. Subordinate knows what right looks like.
Yeah.
Right. Your integrity is completely intact.
Subordinate being the soldier that was with you that also did it wrong.
And you showed him a great example of what doing the hard right and the easy wrong looks like.
Yeah.
Where we always talk about should be the easy right and the hard wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the difference between operational units with a lot of that it is it's the easy right as opposed to the hard wrong. And I mean, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I think people are like, and when I say people, you hear a lot of the haters. This is what I hate. A lot of the haters, when he gets this opportunity to go, they're like, oh my God, they're going to do this, that, and the third. Wouldn't you like to know? And then you about face and you move out.
Yeah.
Smartly. Those are the same people that would be like, oh, leadership in those types of organizations, super easy. No, it's not. Leadership in those type of organizations is 10 times more difficult because you have subordinates who know just as much as you do.
Oh yeah.
And have an expectation for you to lead them in the right direction and to keep them alive.
Oh yeah.
And they will be the first to be up in your face and tell you, hey, you're fucked up.
Yeah. And not just like subordinates, like my peers.
Well,
like,
I'm just talking about the base level subordinates.
But like my peers had 3, 4, 5 deployments by at this point, and they're also Sergeant E5s, right?
Yeah.
And they had like hard Ranger deployments, you know what I mean? And I had to earn, I did, right? And they know it because we're all on like the same fantasy league still from like 12 years ago. And we all talk, and one of them was the best man at my wedding. Like we're still very close. But it was hard for them. Like here's this import, right? Sergeant E5. They've been trooping the Ranger Regiment line for however many years. And I show up with my stripes and I get a deployment, So there was some like hardship there. But again, like the two things that I'll tell every import, point blank period. 1, you have something to offer. So submit the packet and go. You have something to offer. You do. The next thing is you just have to be humble and you have to take it. Like you just have to take the information, understand it's going to be a lot, ask questions because leaders want that, right? Ask questions, and you'll be fine. And I think once those guys saw that I had something to offer and that I wanted to learn, I wasn't just like, hey guys, here's how you do mortaring, right? They, they accept it.
I think, and real quick, just to put it in context, I think help people understand how hard it is to earn the respect and confidence of being just a mortarman, because earning the confidence and trust outside of the organization is one thing, but to be included, conventional or not, to be included as a mortarman within your own set is like, it's very difficult.
It is difficult because you're selling a product.
Were you MLOC qualified when you went to Ranger?
I was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh baby, I was.
Yeah.
And it did
Explain that for those who are listening.
Yeah. So
MLOC is good for us.
I was just
No, great question. So MLOC is the Infantry Mortar Leader course. By EMTO, it's a course that is for officers to go, like post IBOLIC, like pre,
kind of CLC,
like learn the inner workings of not just the mortar system, but capability, but how to compute fire missions with like the 3 different ways to like compute fire missions. So like the plotting board, which is this archaic disc, right? That really challenges your eyeballs.
We used to call it the Ouija board.
and like your back, because you got to stand and manipulate it. The LHMBC and the MFCS, the mortar fire control system. So that school like certifies and validates you on that. But again, it's like really MTO for officers. So I was already MLOC qualified when I went. And I was one of 2, 3 like MLOC qualified guys in my unit. But here's the other challenge with being a mortar is you're selling a product, right? You're selling a product that's the most archaic weapon system like ever. It's a trebuchet, right? It's a smooth bore weapon system. You know what I mean? And between us girls, sometimes like not very accurate. Like once I put that round,
It makes it there.
like once I put that round in the tube, you
lose all control.
I hopefully I put it in the right direction. Hopefully I put the correct cheese charges on it so it flies, the distance it's supposed to.
Tell people what a cheese charge is real fast.
So a cheese charge is, there's 4 of them on every mortar system. It's like this yellow, I believe it's the nitroglycerin.
It looks like packing foam.
It's a donut.
Yeah.
It's like a little donut, and the more you add, the further the round goes. So the max effective range of a 120 is 72 some odd meters, 7206 or something. In order for it to fly there at that distance, you need 4 cheese charges. So if I do all the stuff right, and I set it in that distance, at that elevation, at that deflection, put the round in the tube, but I have 1 cheese charge on there, that baby's going short. You see what I'm saying? So when you're a mortar, you're selling a product, and I'm selling and here's a challenge. If you're a company commander or a young platoon leader, and a young specialist shows up to your platoon with this mortar tube and this, 60 millimeter mortar round that's like that has a 35 meter like kill radius, right? Hey bud, here I am. Here's my tube. It blows up, right? Put me on the manifest. I'm ready to go. As a platoon leader, you're like, dude, you mean I have to cut a saw gunner or like someone else to take like this random guy? No. Like, you just won't do that.
Cop security.
Right? Or you find yourself on like cop security or like doing the boss's PSD.
Yeah.
So selling the product of a mortar system, right? It's hard unless you see the effect of it, right? And the GWAT allowed a lot of ground force commanders, like a lot of decision makers, because when you take indirect fire, there is a psychological feeling you get, because you're like, I don't know where it's coming from.
We need counter battery.
I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how many are being fired. I don't know where they are, right? You know nothing. You just know you got to run as fast as you can with your Crocs on. You know what I mean? Hopefully you put them things in 3rd gear, right? When you lock the back, when you lock the hubs.
Yeah.
So hopefully you lock the hubs on your Crocs and you get to a bunker. So psychologically, there's something really neat that happens when you fire a mortar system,
Really?
right? On the other side, I think. So I think the GWAT, the Global War on Terrorism, allowed leaders to see the effect of that system, right? And where it was really used was when we were supporting some of our partners in Syria, right? Like the mortar system was like one of it was, if not like the #1 fired thing ever, And again, it's super archaic. It's a smoothbore weapon system.
Can't beat math though.
Yeah.
And again, goes back to the fact that like I joined the Army because I didn't want to do math.
And yet,
now here I am with 6,400 divided by like this thing. Where's the stars? Triangulate, calculator. I lost my calculator. Where's the whiz wheel? Purple.
Yeah.
Fire for effect.
And man.
Does that make sense?
I love my mortarmen, because Scouts and Mortars worked a lot along with the Fisters.
Yeah.
And we had an awesome relationship. Every organization I was in, 11 Charlies were it, the 13 series, dude. I don't think people understand that. While I agree with you that you're trying to sell a product, what really frustrated me and where I got blessed with a lot of good commanders is they understood a good fire distribution plan.
Yeah.
They knew how to implement at echelon the different types of weapon systems.
It's so funny you say that, because that is like good to great when it comes with, mirroring a fires plan with a maneuver plan. There's no fire without maneuver and no maneuver without fire.
Yeah.
And the leaders that understand that and can incorporate I know the best fire supporter on the planet. His name's Master Sergeant Tucker Tratton. He works in the 75th Ranger Regiment. When you get to talking fires with this guy, it is like, I would imagine it's like listening to like the Pope speak. Right?
It's like listening to Saban talk about football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. It's like listening to Bill Belichick talk about like, football, because he's so intelligent. He talks weather, he talks deconfliction, he talks like space, right? Anyway, not to get off track.
No, that's great.
But and that's what I was as a mortar. I had to sell a product to a lot of like young officers. I had to teach guys how to sell the product, and then you had to be trusted, right? You had to be trusted, because you're as a mortar, you work pretty autonomous. You know what I mean? Like, here's the maneuver. The mortars, you're going to be 5,600 meters away from everyone else. Here's a radio. Make sure you're up on the radio. and get ready to fire all these fire masons within close proximity of us in order to allow freedom of maneuver to insert your spiel, right?
Yeah.
And it's again, classic, right? Napoleon used it, the trebuchet, right? Worked great on Game of Thrones, right? Still have it, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of development going on, but we don't have like a laser guided one. We don't have like a GPS guided one. The mortar system is pure talent. It is pure talent. It's like an F1 team.
Everybody has seen that video. I know you don't even have to be in the military to see the guys in the valley in Afghanistan, and you see and run outside.
Oh yeah.
And he's got this.
Oh yeah.
And he just, I mean, it's off the hip.
Hanging,
just like,
yeah.
Oh yeah. And he's hitting targets.
It's great. Loved it.
That's great. I love that.
But I did that in the Ranger Regiment for
How many years? Yeah. And how many deployments?
So I did 2 deployments in the conventional army. One more in 3rd ID. No, I did 2 deployments in the conventional army, and then I have 8 total deployments.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah, that's not bad.
I was going to get back to one of the points in which you cut me off.
Sorry.
But that's great. No, it was actually great because I think a lot of people don't understand 11 Charlies, and it was great for you to go down.
I nerd out.
No, that's great. That's cool.
Yeah.
So in terms of like one of the things that you were doing at Ranger Regiment was holding the standard, is what I wanted to say. And that was one of the things that you most certainly want to do when you're there. It's easy to get that incorporated into you and inbred into you or bred into you when you're born within the regiment. But as a transplant, that was one of the things you quickly understood, is that
100%.
you had to be humble, you had to be a sponge, and you had to hold the standard. And that's what you did in that situation.
Yeah. And
so,
it goes back to the Blue Book, right? The Blue Book says it best. Just be a man of character, competence, and commitment. It's
there you go.
The most powerful 3 words ever written, like, I think, right?
I mean, Kyle was the same way. He was in standby mode in 3rd Brigade, 3rd ID. Like all those things that he was just waiting. He was like, okay, confidence, character, commitment. I'm here. Let me, like,
I'm ready.
Anybody? Bueller? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was ready for it. I think maybe some of the guys that you talk to are like, man, it's going to be really difficult to be an implant. Yeah, for the normal person that wasn't ready to receive and wasn't motivated to do it. But, you know,
most people at that stage, though, do the opposite. They get out because they're frustrated. They don't have the right leadership. And everything else. So you chose to, you know what, I need to level up and I need to take it to another level, or I'm going to be doing that myself.
Yeah.
So how many years total did you say in the regiment?
So I spent 12 years in the Ranger Regiment. I did 10 years at 1st Ranger Battalion. Did 2 years as a platoon sergeant there. It was dope.
Yeah.
God, what a job, man. I did 2 years as a platoon sergeant, and then so the Ranger Regiment has an incredible, like, I mean, it's talented. It's a talent pool. And because of that, they're able to like pull, guys and create jobs that work around like those guys' talents. And like, as you see, like, I'm passionate about being a mortar. So we have what's called the Regimental Mortar Program Manager, which essentially is you're a post platoon sergeant 11 Charlie, right? And you go to regiment and you essentially manage innovation, all the new widgets that are coming out from the Army that have to do with like mortaring. You find unique ways to like, to help the 3 battalions train. So one of the dope ones is, through some relationships with our partners in the UK, we were able to get our mortars to go train in like the UK with the UK mortars. And it's a really powerful training event because they're great at like urban mortaring, right? So I was a regimental mortar program manager.
Is that like in the 3 shop or where are you?
Yep, it's in the fire
it's
section.
almost like being a mortar master gunner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. So when I talk to my conventional Army friends, that's how I explain it.
Yeah,
I'm a mortar master gunner, right?
Yeah.
So it is in the 3 shop.
Weird, that's not a position already.
Yeah.
I digress.
No, that's
We
funny.
have digital master gunner though.
We so that was so I worked in the regimental 3.
Is that when you ran into?
That's when I ran into you guys. Yeah.
How long had you been there doing that?
I think that was probably 12 months now. 12 months then. I was already there for 12 months.
Yeah.
And
you did a total of how long in that position?
2 years. I did 2 years there. And I was in the fire section, which was great. I got a lot of really neat opportunities out of that. I got a chance to learn so much.
He was in the fire section and they actually did stuff that pertained
to their
fires.
fires.
In regiment, that's always the case. It doesn't matter what job you're doing.
No, I'm saying that for the public.
It was so fun, and I got such great opportunities from it. And again, like I love to learn, right? So like I was just taking in all of this like knowledge on, fire and maneuver. I hope to be a sergeant major someday, right? And what I hope is when I'm sitting, from what I learned, right? Like I can sit next to my battalion commander, and as he's dealing with like a problem set, I could go, hey, but here's what I learned. Here's the problem that I'm seeing as your enlisted advisor on like the fires plan that I think here's how we gain the initiative here. What do you think? It's just a recommendation, right? So I learned a lot there. And then some tough decisions came for me.
Were you at, before you jumped to the tough decision, were you, to put people in perspective in regiment, were you kind of at the ceiling? Were you bumping the ceiling?
I was.
I think that's the hard decision.
That was a hard decision. Yeah, I was.
Because I was sitting there doing beer math and like, there's a bunch of 11s.
Yeah, I was.
At some point.
Let me tell you, like I said again, man,
You'll be shit hot.
the talent there, you want to talk about imposter syndrome? You want to talk about like going home and writing your diary every night and like trying to figure out like where you fit into like this machine? Be an E8 in the Ranger Regiment, right? And the thing is like the most talented ones, they're feeling the same things, right? Because they're like my best friends and we talk about this stuff, right? And boy, is there some talent there. But here's the other challenge though, right? I think there's a point in your career where you have to have a discussion on the difference between achievement and fulfillment, right? And I had a tough decision. So, I was brought into an office and the operations sergeant major at the time said, hey man, here's where we see you fitting into this machine. And it was as a first sergeant in the Ranger Regiment, but it wasn't how I wanted to be challenged. And I didn't know if I would be fulfilled there, right? So here's a little bit of, vulnerability for me. How do you be the guy to say no to a job in the Ranger Regiment, right? And that was something I had to come to terms with. And it took me a long time because I had that conversation with that leader in August.
That's fresh.
And August of last year.
Yeah.
Right? August.
I mean, it's still fresh.
Still fresh, right? Still fresh. August of last year. And he told me what the opportunity was. And I had a physical response to it. And we spoke about it. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And I thought about it every day from the day that I said, I'll do it. And I spoke to other leaders about it. I spoke to all my mentors, right, that I could. And then one of the most powerful mentors I have said, brother, achievement versus fulfillment. Like, what do you want? And then I started to think about other things, right? Like the 75th Ranger Regiment has a charter, right, that says NCOs are going to go out there and we're going to, does this system work in the conventional army, right? So I called my bluff, and I walked into his office in December, right before we went on block leave. And I said, I think I'm ready. Like, thank you for everything. But I think I'm ready to move on from this organization. Right. And
that's tough these days. And I mean, to help the people understand why, like the regiment, as they did with you, finds every opportunity to retain the good soldiers and good NCOs by creating paths to retain them because they invested a lot in you. Mm-hmm. And you've grown up and now proven yourself and your value back to the regiment, right? So it's a little bit unheard of these days because that's been done so much through GWAT and everything for an NCO to really use the Abrams Charter and say, hey, listen, I actually want to, activate the Abrams Charter and go into the conventional army now and share my wisdom and everything else. Brett Johnson just did it. Right?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that typically it's like, well, but you're now going to be a division sergeant major because you've already been a brigade regimental sergeant major.
Yeah.
So that's different. For Omar, it was more of like, I want to activate it because what you just said, the difference of how you're viewing this position, these roles, the opportunity.
Yeah. And as you make your way through it, right, through the Army, there comes a point where you start to realize like my next job may be my last one. Right.
Because how many years active do you?
I'm at 18 years.
Okay.
Right? I'm at 18 years. So like my next job may be my last one.
Man, you got 12 more years. What are you talking
And so it's funny I say that because that's what I tell my wife every morning. I'm like, babe, I got 12 more years left. And she's like, brother.
She's like, the hell you do?
Like, find somewhere for us to retire next to a Target and a Starbucks.
She's like, I got 2 years left.
Yeah, exactly. Right. No, I mean, she's
It's your high school sweet or college sweetheart or whatever. So you've now been married at this
18 years. We got married.
Congratulations.
Yeah. No, thank you. And again, I got a 12-year-old who's a rock star and a 7-year-old who's going to solve all the world's
I'm sure
problems.
you were thinking about them as well in this decision.
So here's.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
You did that to me.
So it's
Yeah. I do it out of love.
that. So the day I walked into the Ops Sergeant Major's office, right, to have that discussion. Again, it was December, and I told her I was going to do it that night, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it, and I was like, you know what, Omar, it's the Ranger Regiment, man. Just take the fucking job, dude. Just take the job. And I called her, and I was like, hey, babe, like this is what we're doing, and she said, I don't want you to be a shell of yourself like anymore. Like I know the guy you are, right? And put your money where your mouth is, my man. That's what she said, right? And that's coming from her.
Quit being a bitch.
That's what she said. Okay. Short. Okay. Yeah. Right. Like that's what she said in my car. There I was. Everyone signed out on block leave. I called her. I said, babe, I'm not doing it. I'm coming home. She said all these words. Got my badged my way up. I said, hey, Sergeant Major. I'd like to talk to you. He was on the computer doing some stuff. He said, hey man, what's up? I'm still working. And I said, I think I'm going to move on from the organization. Took a step back, turned a chair around, and like for the next 2 hours, we had a discussion on it. And I don't know how I wanted the conversation to go. I don't think like in my mind, even now, hindsight 2020, like a year removed from it, I don't know if I can tell you like how I wanted the conversation to go. I know that this point in my career as the first sergeant of Alpha Company 2504, right, the greatest fighting force ever assembled, I would not change it for the world, right? No, I'm in the White Devils.
Oh, okay.
Right, White Devils 2504, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I remember walking into that company after my change of responsibility, and one of the platoon sergeants, he's like, hey, we're ready for you. Like, we need you. And I was like, dude, that's a lot of pressure. I just need to figure out how to do like IPSE stuff. Right? Like, how do I approve leave forms? Like, let's figure that out. And then let's get into the other stuff.
You should have called your boy.
Right. So, but now like I've been in that seat for 6 months and I needed that company more than they need me. Like I can't, like I get emotional talking about it because you want to talk about doing more with less. Look at the 82nd Airborne, right? Like I promise, like look at the 82nd Airborne, right? 2 of my first sergeant counterparts just became E8s and they've been first sergeants for like 2 years, right? So now I've been an E8 for 2 years. I just took a company 6 months ago. These guys have been grinding as first sergeants, as sergeant first classes for 2 years.
That sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah. And these dudes are
rock stars, man.
Rock stars, right? Yeah. Like one of them, First Sergeant Holland. You talk about anything airborne, you say the word airborne, and like these spidey senses go off, and he can tell you the throw that it needs, that the plane needs to be on the angle on a Wednesday to get a jump off.
Right.
It's like, it's crazy. We just got back from JRTC. Here's another example. We just got back from JRTC. We did a jump into JRTC, right? Again, the combat power that the 82nd Airborne can bring, right? If I was a German looking down, I'd be like, fuck. You know what I mean? If I was on the other side of that on D-Day, I'd be like, damn, right? So he was the primary jump master for the first lift, first chalk. I went and watched him do Sarge AT for like everyone else. It's like pre-jump, the things we have to do in order to prepare, paratroopers for exiting an aircraft. He didn't use like a book. It didn't even look like rehearsed. It just looked natural, right? And I remember thinking like, I want that. Like, again, there's another moment, right, that like changed my life, right? Like I was like, that's the standard, right? And then you look at the other first sergeant, who's the Beco first sergeant there, First Sergeant Chandler, young sergeant first class, right? Takes a company. You talk about like the battle drill of like clearing a mine while obstacle. The guy's a savant. He's a savant, you know? And like, hey, I can talk to you about like running off the back of a 47 and like doing some, like, let's do that. every opportunity I get, I'm like, guys, we're doing shitty training. Let's do this. And they're like, dude, that's not what we're asked to do, man. And I'm having a hard time learning that. But, you know, back to that conversation about leaving the Ranger Regiment, Sergeant Major Masters didn't give me his blessing. He didn't need to, right? I was like, hey guys, I'd like voluntarily withdrawal, I guess, right? But he was like, hey, you're going to do great. And on my very last day, bags are packed, truck is in front of regimental headquarters, right? Families like riled up, like packed up. I had a meeting. I was working a project and I had a meeting with Colonel Obaho and Sergeant Major Masters. And Master Sergeant Tucker Triton, the greatest fire supporter ever, in closing, he was like, hey guys, this is Melendez's last day in the Ranger Regiment, you know? And Colonel Obaho said, where are you going? And I was like, I'm going to the 82nd. And he said, man, that's badass. And it wasn't like he meant it. You know?
No,
like,
but he had been in the 82nd. He'd been in the 173rd. He'd been in the regiment.
He like meant it. And he was like, dude, you're gonna, it like, man, he meant it. And I love it. I love it. There's some things that I hate, you know, I'd be lying to you if I told you like, Ipse, hey, you know, here's some like, yeah, there's some things that I hate. And then not that I refuse to get good at, I'm just not going to get good at it. Right. Yeah. And like, hopefully I have a job on my 6-hour drive back. Right. But, fine. You know, but, there's problems that are real in the conventional army as a first sergeant that I'm feeling that I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, I've never been privy to these issues.
Why is this an issue?
In my last orientation, right? Yeah. Like, I don't understand it. Right. But
it's probably not an issue. That's the problem.
It's probably not an issue. And here's what I found. And here's what I tell my platoon sergeants. And I get a lot of pushback for it, but I stand by it. And I'll say it here in front of the world. If it doesn't help me prepare for combat, right? If it doesn't make me 1% better, if it detracts from what I think is the most important thing, right? Which is preparing people for their worst day of ground combat, then it'll wait. It can wait. Then it can wait.
That's not the glass ball.
That's glass ball, rubber ball.
Then it can wait, right?
And did you say that on the
so what?
Yeah, previous episode. Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's the Humphreyisms, right? Yeah. It's if we're not training to shoot, move, communicate, medicate.
Rachel says the exact same.
Yeah. No, 100%,
what are we doing?
Like,
what are we doing?
You know, the big five, right? Like those are real, right? And again, I think as I sit here, you know, 6 months removed from the 75th Ranger Regiment, which again, I always said as a platoon sergeant in the Ranger Regiment, you're always going to get more from the Ranger Regiment than you put in. And I'm feeling that now more than ever, because being a standard bearer in the Ranger Regiment is hard. Mm. Wear a scroll and a Ranger tab in the 82nd Airborne, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's super hard.
There's an expectation.
There's an expectation. And I'll share a story. I came across another guy who had a scroll, and first thing he said was like, hey man, what'd you get RFS'd for? Right? So release for standards. So in the blue book, in the 75th, automatically assume,
because again, it goes back to what we just talked about. The Abrams Charter is supposed to be there.
Brother, you want to talk about a dagger in the heart? So RFS, right? Release for standards. The Ranger Regiment is the only unit in the Army that can do that, right? Release for standard. Hey, you failed a standard? You're just not good for our organization right now. You can come back later, maybe. Some guys have to get a Ranger tab. Some guys have to, evolve, right? So that dude was like, and I've never seen him before. Never seen this guy. He had a 175 scroll. I've done a decade at 175, and I've never seen him before. And he was like, dude, what'd you get RFS for? And I was like, excuse me? And brother, that day, I took the scroll off. I took the scroll and the tab off. And in the DivPam, which is like the Bible of the 82nd Airborne, the only thing you're required to have on uniform is a set of airborne wings. That's it. That's what I did.
Humphreys.
Until he did it too.
Every time he would go,
he doesn't know
who Humphreys is.
So the audio stuff was my commander.
You talk about him every episode.
Yeah.
But that's how much of an impact he's
had. I would love to have him on here.
No, that's dope. That's dope. That's powerful. That's powerful.
I don't know how well he'd do on a podcast.
No.
So Kevin Humphreys was a sniper platoon sergeant in 375, and he'd done double-digit years with that. got out OCS.
Oh,
he spent
cool.
all his time with it. But then he went and became a commander with 3-1 Cav. So I was his first sergeant when he was a commander. You knew him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't know him as a Ranger. You know why? Because his uniform wasn't the
No
sexiest.
way.
But he would come sterile. And all he would have is airborne wings, and he would have the 3rd ID patch, and that was it. And every time we would go to like a function, I'd have to run into his office, grab
get
that
his
shit,
stuff.
slap it on. First sergeant, what you doing? I was like, look, I know you don't care, but I care.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to treat you differently if you put on this combat patch.
Yeah.
If you put on, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. And-
or he wore his Ranger tab.
No,
obviously.
you know, and that's a great point because, you know, again, like be a standard bearer in the Ranger Regiment. Okay. Challenge accepted. I got to do it every day just to survive. Right. Now go into the conventional army, and it's different for our officer counterparts, right? Because they
There's an
leave. Like,
expectation
it's
they have.
part of that, right?
Yeah.
It's part of their pipeline. They go out, come to command, come back, go out, do whatever, come back. It's part of it. But wear the scroll, wear the tab, had the experience. And by experience, I don't mean like all the combat experience and all the knowledge. I mean, just like experience that organization, right? And go to the 82nd, the 101st, any unit. It's almost like 10 times having to be a standard bearer. Because the second you don't do PT one day, because like your foot hurts, how's it going? First Omar Melendez, right? The second you do PT, they're like, that's the Ranger Regiment guy. Didn't do PT today. You know? Like that's the reality of it, right? And I remember that RFS.
Never really thought about
I'm going to give him a bit, but
Go ahead.
you're going to talk RFS,
So
and I'm going to counter you first.
So I remember that, you know, I remember that conversation with him. And I didn't even ask him what he got RFS for. And I was like, hey man, I did it. Right. And I was hoping that was like a fuck you moment. Like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did it. And I walked away.
You should have said, have you ever heard of the Abrams Charter?
Yeah, I should have.
But you know, I know you have to think of
I
those
mean, I
things.
was not in a good place. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, like, because then you start thinking through stuff like, did I self RFS? Like, whoa. Right. So I was like, I didn't. And I walked away. And there's a company commander in my unit, Dan Gibbons, spent a lot of time in 375. He was a platoon leader there, was an XO there, now a company commander there, right? And one day at a command and staff, I walk in and I have nothing on my sleeve, right? It's just my 82nd patch, and the only thing required of me, my airborne wings. I sit down and he looks at me and he gives me like this weird look. The meeting happens and it ends. And he said, and then we talk about it, and he goes, that's the reason you have to wear it.
Yeah.
And
I was just about to say
he
that.
said, that's the reason. He said, that's the reason you have to wear it, because there's this understanding, right? Not this understanding. There's like this cultural norm that if you're a non-commissioned officer outside of 75th Ranger Regiment with a scroll, you've either, you know, you're a guy who's like, you're either a sergeant major or first sergeant, right?
Which you are.
Which I am, right?
Yeah.
But you're either a sergeant major, right?
Yeah.
That's more important
Which
because
is more important.
because there was a first sergeant role
Yeah.
for you there, but there's not as many sergeant
There's
major
not
roles.
Exactly, right?
Right.
Or you got RFS'd, and he said that's why you have to wear it, because people need to know, right, that there's he said people need to know that there's good leaders in the Ranger Regiment, right, that aren't turds, and that when we come out to the conventional army, and this is where I got the idea of like, man, it's hard, right, to still live the charter. We're living the charter in like real time. You know what I mean? A good example of that, which I dig, is my company is the only company in my battalion that's running 3 machine guns at the support by fire. Where did I learn that? The 75th Ranger Regiment. You know what I mean? Who has problems? Like who has an issue with it? Well, a lot of people. Hey man, we only run 2 guns. That's how we run. That's how we do
That's
stuff.
how we've always done it.
That's how we've always done it. And I'm like, brother, challenge accepted. Watch my 3 guns in a support by fire, and I promise you we'll be a little bit better. And some of the challenges are like, hey man, we just don't have the talent, right? Like some of these guys just can't handle 3
But
guns.
those are excuses. They're
Brother, one of my dude, I have 3 of what I think are the best weapon squad leaders: Staff Sergeant Barter, Staff Sergeant Snowberger, and Staff Sergeant Schwartz. You know why they're weapon squad leaders, or why they're the best? Because they've entered the arena and they said, I want the challenge of running 3 machine guns. I've never seen that before, first time. And I'm like, brother, well, here you go. Let's just do it. And let's learn it together, right? Because I'm a mortar, right? So I was never a weapon squad leader, right? But I've seen how powerful that can be. So let's do it.
It is pretty.
Look at this first sergeant mentoring 2 levels down. Like
It
it
is.
should be.
It is pretty
Oh
dope.
my!
You know what I'm saying?
So are you wearing your tab and your scroll?
I am.
Yeah.
Very proud.
Hey,
I am very
I was about
I
to
am
dig
very-
into that ass.
No. I am very proudly. Very
There's
proudly.
something else that goes with that, though. Now, Andrew, keep doing it. You have to understand the impact that this visual thing
Yeah.
has for your soldiers, and that your soldiers will look at you and go, "That's my fucking first sergeant
Yeah.
running with Ganyan
Yep.
and Big Man for the squad leader challenge when we did the best scout competition, right? I heard people, "That's my first sergeant." It's that.
Yeah.
They
for sure,
want to
for sure.
see that. You could see how people would light up when
right.
Kevin Humphreys would wear his Ranger stuff and his
Yeah.
and his scroll. They were like, "That's my commander."
And you know,
Right.
it's dope you say that, but it's also like I said, it's almost, it's not, I don't want to use the word burden, right? But I have to be very intentional. I have to be very intentional about what I say around my paratroopers, what I say around my company commanders, what I say around other first sergeants, and even some like my meetings. And I realized this because at first I was like, "Hey guys, this range sucks.
Yeah.
Here's why. Let me show you how we did it." Not productive.
No.
And I realized that, right? So I have to be very intentional on like what sword I'm going to die on, right? Because if I decide I'm going to die on every hill, then I just lose legitimacy.
Yeah.
Well,
I
so
love this conversation. Now I'm going to cut you off because what I love is that what you're stating is there's enough people who listen to this podcast who come from Ranger Regiment or are currently serving in Ranger Regiment that, you know, we talk often about the Abrams Charter, but yet if you've seen this and lived it, it's gotten back, and there's probably a lot of people that are not willing to leave to suffer the
Oh yeah.
done.
Oh yeah.
The stigma.
Oh yeah.
Right? So now we're creating yet another stigma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the camera? Right here.
Yeah.
You guys know who you are. Like get out here, right? Like
They need you.
they like put your money where your mouth is. Like, you want a leadership challenge? Let me introduce you to some, right? Let me introduce you to some. And just like, not even leadership challenges, like challenges that I'm truly appreciating in the conventional army. One of my platoon sergeants, Rachel Mays, the only female platoon sergeant, right, in my brigade. You want to talk about a warfighter? Brother.
Yeah.
Incredibly talented, right? For a lot of leaders, like, that's a challenge, right? Like, man, female in the infantry, what do I say? What do we change? What do we do? One of the first things I asked, Sergeant First Class Mays when I became a first sergeant, standard stuff like, hey, how do I want to respect you? I'm empathetic, right? I'm a girl dad. I was like, I want to respect you. Let's talk about some of these like natural brownies that I want to understand. And I understand my time in the Army is going to be very different than yours. She was like, First Sergeant, just treat me like an infantryman.
This ain't a bitch.
I was like, okay.
That's what she told.
I was like, okay, that's a challenge, right? I have another young female private, Lily Testardi, right? We just got done with JRTC. If you've never been at JRTC, there's like a final movement to like the last objective, Sagacita. Everyone talks about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my company, pretty proud of it, was the only company from my brigade, from my battalion, that got to the final objective. As we were walking, right, again, everyone's an infantryman. I get that. We're moving. She was carrying her ruck. She was carrying her water. She was carrying, her the Carl G, right? And it's not that she's a female like doing it, right? I don't want this to get
That's
like,
some Gustav.
I don't I don't want this to get like misunderstood. It's the fact like that is a challenge as a leader. I've never had to work with with women as their like primary boss. So like I don't understand how to like take care of her. Like I don't understand the needs, right? And again, first thing she said when we did our first counseling, just treat me like an infantryman. All right. You see what I'm saying? Like that's a learning. That's such a powerful conversation. Then all she said was like, brother, just treat me like an infantryman.
And it's a conversation you never would have had at Ranger Regiment.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. 100%. Right.
I wouldn't say never. I think there are
but it
opportunities
wouldn't
there.
be that type of thing.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
Just want to qualify.
I would tell you that
You'll never have that conversation at Ranger. I don't give a fuck if they have it or not, dude.
I mean, you would. I think at like the higher levels, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, so you're
It's
qualified.
different.
You're never gonna have.
You know what I'm saying? I think they will, right?
check this out. You're like, I got to be intentional with my words. Here's my challenge to all of the other first sergeants in the world that aren't coming from the regiment. You are always intentional with your words.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where the fuck you come from.
Yeah.
Your words and your actions should always be intentional. You don't have to guard. You don't have to pull stuff away.
Yeah.
But you just have to know how to phrase what you're thinking, because the combat arms in us wants to say, fuck that, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But now you have to realize that you're a senior leader.
Oh, yeah.
And so now the intentionality has to be there. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's because you're regimental. It's just like tone down your experience a little bit.
Yeah, but on top of that, though, there is an expectation.
Yeah.
Because one, they're holding him to a higher standard because he has the scroll. But the second part of that is they're evaluating, not in a negative sense, but the way they already perceive you. With that, when you walk in the door, I would at least receive you in a different way, very positively, meaning that if you say something that goes against that, now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is not what my expectation.
Yeah,
was.
100%.
So you're carrying that load. I 100% get what you're talking.
And a good example is like the 3 machine guns at the support by fire.
Yeah.
We were having a meeting, a company training meeting, and they were like, yep. And now, the 2 guns for, this weapon squad, they're good. And I was like, 2 guns? Guys, why don't we try 3? That's all I said. And the company ran with it.
That's great.
Ran with it, right? And like my armor, who's just, you put the right people in the right place, right? Like, somehow manifested 3 more guns, which were not even M-towed, right? And made it work. And now I have 3 guns in the support by fire, right? But
I just wouldn't let that, what you're talking about, and I don't think you do, don't let it drive your day-to-day behavior.
Yeah.
You're going to get in tune with who you are as a leader. Understand that you probably have more experience and maturity than most. You are being held to a higher standard. Cool. But who you are is gonna be what drives you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
No, 100%. And again, like my unit's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Like those 2 other first sergeants I mentioned, like you can't.
That's your drive.
Yeah.
Right? Just to be the best battalion you guys can be, right?
Yeah, and we're doing it. Like
no one's expecting you to turn your battalion into Ranger Regiment, or you know what I mean? It's like that's a part that I think that you're trying to also express to individuals who may consider leaving a regiment is that you're not trying to go out and then turn the Army into Ranger Regiment. It's not going to happen.
Correct. Yeah.
However, there are benefits in traits and things that you can bring, capabilities or whatever that you can bring to the conventional Army that is most certainly needed.
Yeah.
Because you have soldiers who were hungry for that, chose, or maybe because of their MOS or other circumstances, not to go to regiment, but need you.
Yeah.
They need you in that damn unit.
And not me like Omar, but like the guy who's willing to step out of into the arena, which is real, and it's
quite frankly your comfort zone.
Yeah. And it's incredible. And so here's another one which is like pretty neat. The last thing I did in the Ranger Regiment, right? I had my wife and I lived in Columbus. We ran this little like Airbnb behind our home. And this young couple, he was in basic training. They stayed in our home, right, in our little Airbnb. And he was graduating basic in January, and he saw that I have a little like Ranger emblem on my car. And his wife texted my wife Kimberly and said, "Hey, like, my husband's he's kind of nervous. He's doing an option 40 thing. Can your husband like talk to him?" I was like, "Brother, sign me up, dude." Like, I'm on the same Airbnb chat. I was like, on my way. Have him come out. All he needs is a due cord and a good attitude, right? Well, he walked out, we sat down, and we spoke for like 2 hours. He did not make it through pre-RASP because of whatever, right? Did not make it through pre-RASP. I had already decided I'm leaving, and I knew what unit I was going to. I moved heaven and earth to get him to come to my organization, and now he's in my company.
I love it.
And what I'm not saying is like, oh, look at the power of like
no. We're totally following that.
But it's like here's the power of like treating people with, because it took a lot, right? Like I had to have an HRC conversation, and I had to, he wasn't an Airborne qualified, so I had to like walk him onto Airborne school. His Airborne physical was lost, so I had to drive to Sand Hill and be like, hey, this guy, please help me. I brought the PA. I brought her a case of Michelob's, right? Because that was her jam. right? She was a CrossFitter, so I knew that, right? So like, here's your Michelob's. Goes to airborne school, gets to the division like replacement, and has orders. I hope I don't get in trouble. Has orders to a different brigade. And I'm like, brother, where are you right now? He's like, I'm here. And I was like, grab your stuff, put it in my truck. I'm on my way. And I stole them.
That's the Mortarman in him.
I pulled up to my battalion headquarters, dropped him off in there. Nah, he's in my company. And he is thriving.
Yeah.
He is thriving. I put him in a great platoon with a great platoon sergeant, right? Who has drill sergeant orders and is going to go do great things, right? It's our first class Wooly. Like, I mean, you want to talk about a guy who just wants to, he makes fun of himself a lot because he doesn't have Ranger tab, but you want to talk about a guy who just wants to paint his face and jump out of airplanes? That's my guy.
Yeah.
I trust him to do, he's the best first sergeant in my company. I swear, right? Like all the IPSA stuff, all the other things, like he's my guy, right?
Yeah.
And I put him in his platoon and the kid is doing, I mean, there's almost not a day that goes by that he doesn't go, hey, first sergeant, thank you.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't go, brother, thank you for like letting me, you know, like letting me.
Y'all changed each other's lives.
Yeah, that's that opportunity that we love, that we've all done in terms of trying to pull people forward.
Yeah.
You know, it's the success that how you determine your success should be more about how you help the others and their success. I mean, this guy sitting here looking at you, he's in heaven. I mean, we saw that before he came in here and he joined us on set and everything. He saw the back of your head. He was listening to you talk and everything and had a shit-eating grin on his face.
Yeah. So it was heart emojis coming off his head.
He was waiting for the moment that he could give you that hug. So, no, man, listen, we've already gone on over an hour and a half. We could probably talk to you another hour and a half, but I just really want to thank you truly for coming here because I think you've dropped so many things from an NCO perspective, from a leadership perspective, you know, overall, talking about individuals in the Abrams Charter and how they need to get out there and start doing that. I mean, I love that the regiment finds opportunities for good soldiers to stay within the unit, including changing MOSs and everything.
Oh, 100%.
Right. They'll do whatever they can to retain the great
keep talent, 100%, which you should, right?
They invest in their soldiers. They have the ability to do that because it is a volunteer force. So it's a little bit different than, say, the 82nd who try to do the same thing. But, you know, you sharing that type of knowledge, it's important that they also go out and grow the conventional army as much as they can. They're going to hit the roadblocks, but we're not going to pierce through those blocks unless we get people like yourself that's doing that. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Talking a lot about that. Yeah. Oh, man, seriously.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's powerful when you see someone get the eureka moment. You can't make that up. You can't, you walk into your office and you sit down and you go like, my job's done for today. Like, I'm not going to do another IPSA action. I'm not going to approve another leave form. Like, I'm closing my door. I'm packing it up. And it's so powerful. And like that kid I'm talking about, I don't know how he's going to do tactically when we deploy. I just know he has a really good character.
Yeah, but what you learned a long time ago is that at the end of the day, we're in the people business.
We're in people business, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. We're in people business, right? We're in people business. And like, that's it, right? That's it. How you treat people matters. How you care about people matters.
What's the best networking advice I've ever gotten? Don't be an asshole today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that's going to carry forward years from now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 100%. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that was dope.